Croeso Sianel Blaid Llwyd. I've done so many of these, I'm running out of ideas of how to introduce them differently, so we're back to password again. It's Dean's route. I'm currently recording this with Leo sleeping right next to me, so if we're lucky he'll actually snooze through the entire recording. We'll see though. Anyway, let's get on with this. It's Dean's day 18, and I have nothing much more else to say, so here we go. I knew I was dreaming, for I could question if I was awake or not. Home. It was the last thing I'd been thinking of when talking to Ty before bed. It was the thing I was holding on to as a safe place to return to. I found myself standing in the front yard in my street. It was familiar. It was safe, and it was something far removed from all my troubles at the mansion. But just thinking about my troubles made me remember what was looming over me in a couple of days. Specifically how many I didn't know, but that was a job for the coming days. The vault, or Thanatos, had told me that at least. The full moon was going to be the next marker in when something was going to go wrong. If I hadn't seen it myself, I might not have believed him. Part of me wondered if I still did, knowing full well that Tyson wasn't a werewolf. He couldn't be, they just didn't exist. But the reality that he'd killed Orlando was hard to shake after I'd seen the state of Orlando's body and Tyson in the light of the full moon covered in blood. So what are you going to do now? Hearing Thanatos in my dream talk sent chills up my spine. He was telling me to do something. Not that I needed encouragement. I was going to save Tyson and Orlando. I just needed to figure out how. But the prospect made my head hurt. As it surged through my system, the dream began to fade. Go on, Junior, it's all on you now. I knew it was. The stress of worrying about screwing it up made my headache all the worse. As I opened my eyes, my head was killing me with a splitting headache. Similar to the one yesterday, but mild enough that I was able to at least sit up and ease myself into being awake proper. There are things I needed to do today. Mostly just checking in on Ty, maybe Orlando, and figuring out when the next full moon was. Then I had to follow up on why my parents were here and what the connection was. It had been more than what I'd been told already, but maybe I was just being hopeful. Grumbling, I clutched my head and got out of bed, threw on some clothes before grabbing my phone and making my way downstairs. By the time I got to the bottom of the stairs, I realised how quiet it was for the time. Oh. Dean's voice echoing out from the dining room alerted me to someone else at least being up, and I followed the scent of coffee that hit me soon after into the dining room. When I took my first step into the dining room, though... good morning. Before me was Dean sitting at the table with a cup of coffee, but with him standing on the table was Thanatos, seemingly getting manhandled and not too happy about it. What are you doing? Oh, I was just enjoying a cup of coffee when this old guy showed up. Well, seems friendly enough. What makes you say that? Well, he hasn't bitten me yet. I looked at Thanatos uncertain. All he did was give me a look somewhere between annoyance and a plea for help. Should you really be messing with a rat you found? Or if he has a disease? Well, it can't be a wild one, see? He has a collar. That makes him a pet, right? Again I looked at Thanatos, who seemed to be just about ready to bite something, but remained quiet this whole time. Maybe, but he doesn't seem to like you messing around with him like that. Well, if he didn't, I'm sure he'd let me know. As if taking the invitation, Thanatos quickly bit down on Dean's hand, freeing himself. Ow! Told you, you're a lot bigger than he is. You might have hurt him. You think so? Well, I don't see how I could have hurt him. Why not? A set of lazy footfalls entering the room distracted the both of us from Thanatos still on the table. Look at Oswin as he entered from the foyer. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Oswin, I found this rat. Does he belong to you? With a sigh, Oswin looked down to Thanatos. He may as well. I hope he hasn't been misbehaving. Well, he did just bite me. You were treating him kind of rough, though. Yes, well, I'll be taking him back now. Come along, Thanatos. Thanatos looked back towards Dean and then me, staying put on his spot on the table. Thanatos, I swear I'll pick you up by the scruff if I have to. Won't I hurt him? Oh, trust me, he'll be fine. Sure, I guess so. Before anyone could say anything else, Oswin picked up Thanatos, looking him over. Oh, next time, stay in your damn cage. He's unceremoniously shoved into one of Oswin's pockets and out of sight in a flash, leaving the three of us in silence. Sorry about that. He's prone to misbehaving. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to make myself some coffee. I'll bring one out for you as well before I head to bed, Dave. I took a seat next to Dean. The two of us watched Oswin disappear into the kitchen. When he was out of sight, Dean put an arm over the back of my chair and leaned in close. You reckon he knows that rat isn't alive? I spun my head quickly to look at Dean, eyes bulging out of my head. What do you mean? Well, it looks alive, but it's not. It's got to be a robotic. No way normal rat is that heavy, plus that bite. He showed me his hand, still weeping with a small trickle of blood. That was some biting force. Dean, you're bleeding. Oh, it'll stop soon enough. Good thing my hands are a little calloused from yard work, huh? A coffee for you, Dave. Should anyone need me today, let Benson know and he can come get me. I have some things to attend to. What things? Disciplining a rat, for starters. Mostly just making sure everything's in its place. Would not hurt to make sure the vault is still operational should the worst happen. Well, it's been a few days since anything happened. I think we're still at risk. I can't confirm that we're not. It's not as if I have anything better to do. You could stick around the rest of us and maybe we could watch a movie. I shall pass, thank you. Although there's some merit in your idea. If Thanatos wasn't a factor, I wouldn't have minded a dip in the hot tub. Even with, well, people in the woods. Oh, and going on, mind you, although I do see some level of carelessness in that. So is going outside just out of the question? In the back of my mind, the thought of Thanatos taking me all the way into the hedge maze made me wonder how much of a risk I'd taken by following his whims. Alone, perhaps, but as long as there's someone with you, or if you're armed, or perhaps hidden enough, it should be fine. He stroked his beard soon after, thinking it over. Well, I'll be going now. If something comes up, I'll tell Benson. I warmed my hands with the coffee he brought me, watching him leave before turning to Dean. Where were we? Oh, yeah, you're bleeding. Well, I said I'm fine. It's really slowing down, though stings a little. So you're right for messing with an animal like that, though? You mean robot? You don't know that. Oh, I guess not. Well, if you get a chance to hold that rat, you tell me how it compares to a regular one. I drank from my coffee and wondered why Thanatos had come to the dining room. What was here? Was he waiting for someone? Not had much in the way of time to think about it before everyone else started arriving for breakfast. Oh, good morning, you two. Well, normally you two are up before I am. Well, given how things have been lately, I've been getting what sleep while I can. I've been awake for a while, but just resting in bed. While it might not be sleep, I'll take what I can get. Shut the fuck up, you fat fuck! Those already in the room looked at one another before I groaned into my coffee. Tyson's awake. And picking on Orlando by the sounds of things. Well, we don't know that just yet. The day we got on the bus, I was feeling similar emotions to what Tyson is likely feeling now. Harsh. Dean stood to say something. Before he could, Tyson came storming in looking upset about something. I won't say a fucking word! His gaze went immediately to me when I opened my mouth to say good morning. He wanted to tell me I was included in his sweeping demand. He made his way down the room into the kitchen, shoulders hunched and fur bristled. The door slammed closed behind him, the sound echoing through the room. Orlando stomped into the room looking just as tense and looked at each of us much like Tyson did. What? Are you okay? He's an asshole. I didn't even do anything. Orlando, what did you say? Nothing. Okay, but what did you say? He just said he didn't say anything. All I asked was if he's feeling better after yesterday. Orlando. Okay, so maybe a little bit more sassy than when I asked. And how much more sass? Roswell made himself known at this point, having arrived shortly behind Orlando. I believe the line was, good morning, think you're going to be less of an asshole today, or should I just go back to bed? Orlando, go apologise. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Not while he's in as much of a mood as he's in. Then after. Fine, but I'm not going anywhere near him until he's calmed down. Dean rose properly from his chair and downed the rest of his coffee before wandering over to Hoss, clapping him on his shoulder. Well, everyone sit tight. Hoss and I will go talk to Tyson and get breakfast going. I should get something from my hand, and we can't just not have breakfast. Be careful. Oh, I will. Don't think you can do much to me anyway. Dean and Hoss wandered off into the kitchen. The moment they did, Tyson started yelling with Dean. Oh boy. If anything, it was a reminder of what I had to avoid, and Tyson was getting worse, it seemed. Whatever the cause was, I had to figure it out and do something to stop it. By the time the three of them emerged from the kitchen, it's almost like it was back to the first day we arrived. Tyson was up near the end of the table, and the rest of us were tiredly eating breakfast with just as tired smiles on our faces. Dean was sitting next to me on my right, and finishing his food, rested an arm over the back of my chair while he drank what was left of his coffee. As for me, I was worried. We'd almost been here 3 weeks, and there's still no telling when we could go home with the road the way it was. I took it upon myself to quietly clear the table, taking the plates and cutlery into the kitchen, and began to wash the dishes while I thought things out. Just having the time to mull it over while I kept my hands busy helped. One of the reasons why I liked to do arts and crafts when I was just waiting for the time to go by. When all the dishes were done, I knew the only way forward was to talk out my worries with someone else. I knew who to go to. I stepped out into the foyer in search of Dean. He'd know what to say, right? Or, at least, he'd be willing to listen. Dean? No response came as I called out into the foyer. Even checking some of the side rooms, he didn't seem to be on the ground floor of the mansion as far as I could tell. I wandered over to the back door and froze briefly, hand hovering just above the handle. Breathing in, I took hold and opened it up, looking out into the yard. Dean, are you out here? Hiding halfway behind the door, I scanned the yard, about to head back inside when I noticed him stick his head around the corner and wave. Well, greenhouse, come on. Looking around again, I couldn't see anything lurking among the trees, but almost sprinted over to the greenhouse where Dean was waiting for me. Well, slow down, you might bump into something. Patting me on the shoulder, we stepped inside and he started moving things around before addressing me again. So, what's new? What do you mean, what's new? Well, you did just come sprinting out of the house, plus you were calling for me. Did something happen? No, but I just wanted to talk. We need to talk? Well, I need to talk. Would you mind hearing me out? Well, I'd been worried there for a second. Well, of course, so what's on your mind? He sat down on a few sacks of soil, leaving me to find a place to sit on an overturned ceramic pot. I'm worried, Dean. Worried about when we'll get to go home, whenever the next bad thing is going to happen. I just can't keep it together. Well, we will get home eventually. It just might take a bit is all. Do you think anyone off the mountain knows about the road? Honestly, it's hard to say. I know when an explosion happens, people tend to notice. No chance someone did notice an explosion happening in the middle of the night. That's true. Think they'll send someone to fix it. If not fix it, then send someone to help us get off the mountain. Maybe send supplies. But how likely is that they know someone's even up here? Well, there's a road, and presumably the mailman will know to deliver out this way, assuming they get mail sent to the door. Don't remember anyone like that showing up in the first week. Or maybe Benson just makes trips into town to collect the mail from a private box. Who knows? Maybe. I hung my head and caught Dean rubbing his knees, the silent stretch in between us. What do you need to hear, Dave? What do you mean? Well, I can't in good faith say we're getting out of here soon, just it'll happen eventually. We're doing our best to stay safe and deal with what happened, but beyond that I don't know how else I can help. I just wish I understood more of what's happening around me is all. My mind wandered over the license Thanatos had given me, what it meant that Dad had been here and why I was here now. If found out my dad was here recently. Plus all the stuff about seeing people die. I just...
Wait, your dad was here recently, but isn't he...
No, I meant, I only just found out about it, like yesterday even.
You sure?
I have his license to prove it. Slumping in my chair, I watched as Dean got up and knelt in front of me, placing his hands on my shoulders.
Well, what can we tackle? Did you want to look into why your dad was here, or...
I know why my dad was here, but... Dean flashed me a wry smile before I continued. Plus I got the vault working again, it's just... That's another worry.
You what?
Yeah, it happened yesterday and it's bad.
What did you see?
Would you even want to know? Last time I made a mess of it and upset you and Sal.
I think I'd want to help. At the very least, to maybe stop things unfolding like they did last time.
You sure?
What kind of friend would I be if I let you suffer through this alone?
I guess so.
The worst that can happen is, well, I suppose whatever you saw coming true. But it'll be easy to prevent with the two of us.
Right, okay, well, before we get into that, there's one other thing too.
What's that?
I want to talk about how I saw you die.
What? Again?
We didn't get anywhere last time. We don't have a suspect or even really how you died and just... That happened, Dean. I stopped it, but like, if I didn't, someone would have had to do it, right?
Well, I suppose so. Where do you want to start with that then?
Slumping again where I sat, I sighed. I don't know. All I do know is it doesn't sit right with me.
Should I get Orlando again?
It's probably best to leave him alone after this morning. If he's clashing with Tyson, he's probably holed up somewhere distracting himself.
Well, if it's just the two of us, where do you want to start?
I don't know. We ruled out the death cap being the cause of death because of the time frame. You're still alive in front of me, so if you died from that, it would have happened days ago.
Right.
Is there anything else in here that could kill?
Well, plenty of things if you ate or drank enough of it. Pesticides, for example.
You wouldn't try that, would you? Or even accidentally? You did try the wax apple that one time.
You remember that?
I remember you getting told off for trying.
Oh, shucks. But no, I know what I was eating with any of those. The smell would give it away.
So something outside of the greenhouse. Then we're back to how it happened, right? We just went out to the woods that day. Nothing special happened, did it?
You want it off, but I'd say so. Mushroom foraging with you, then get with Roswell, then Orlando made dinner, you needed a break outside during it after what you saw.
Yeah, I trailed off where I could apologise, remembering something else that came up when we were talking with Orlando. Roswell, what was that conversation about anyway?
What, you mean the one after we got back?
Yeah, you seemed so sure that Roswell couldn't have been it, but you never really went into details about what you two spoke about.
Well, for good reason, Dave.
But wasn't it all good stuff? Dean sat back on the ground, messing with his hands while looking away.
I lied. It wasn't all great, but most of it was.
What was the part that wasn't?
Sorry, that's best coming from Roswell if you really want to know. But I still stand firm that he couldn't have been the one to do it.
But why?
Part of what we talked about was the whole Orlando pushing us together thing, right? He expressed that he was happy we were into each other enough to consider seeing if it would work.
That sounds fine, but I don't get why that clears him.
Because I promised he asked me to make him, so no matter what happens, I'll look out for you. So in the face of that, I don't think it could be him. It wouldn't make sense, would it?
No, I guess not.
He's got a firm grip, though. Didn't think he'd have one eye off his shake on it to seal the promise.
You shake hands when you make promises.
Well, it seems serious to do something.
You never shaken my hand before.
Maybe because he was the one that offered. You'd think I'd remember something that only happened a couple of weeks ago. Less than that, even.
I guess it's not that important. But still, outside of Roswell we could ask. There's not much else to go off.
Even then, after we came inside, everyone's already around for dinner, so who knows?
I struggled to think back to what I'd seen. If there's anything important. The vision lingering just at the back of my mind, barely visible. You shook hands with Roswell.
Yes?
With your left or right hand?
Is that important?
Dean lifted his hands, miming a little before settling on one of them.
Well, left hand. Pretty sure it's my left hand anyway.
My heart sank and a chill went up my spine. It could have just been me misremembering, but something about it seemed off. Something that just didn't add up.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Dean picked up that line immediately, puffing out his cheeks as he looked torn on how to approach asking.
Go on, Dave. What's wrong, really?
Before you tell me no, just hear me out, okay?
All right.
What if it was Roswell after all?
Okay, what if it was Roswell?
I could be misremembering, but there was something on your hand, like... I don't know what it could be. Sugar, maybe?
And sugar means Roswell.
Well, no, actually, yes, but not this time? Or it might be? It's more the fact that it was on the hand he shook.
So, just so I understood this right, we're assuming Roswell, who made me promise me to look out for you, shook my hand, put something on it, then at some point I died from it?
I mean... The look Dean was giving me was a mix of worry and concern.
Are you sure you want to go down this road, Dave?
He's your friend. But he could be the one who tried to kill you.
But if something was on his hand, wouldn't he have died? You interrupted me during dinner, not him. Also, it means he kept his cool for days after, too. Plus, if it was just death cap spores, he'd have died after the 6 days too, right?
But what if it wasn't death cap spores?
Well, I'm just saying, if you go accusing him, what proof do you have that it isn't just going to upset him if you're wrong?
But... Dean held up a hand briefly before settling it gently on my shoulder.
Well, if Roswell planned to do it, and that's a big if, I can't think of any reason why he'd do the things leading up to it. You want to go accusing him of something he didn't end up doing well.
Even if he planned it.
Think about how the others would think too. They might brush it off as you've been paranoid, or any number of things really. But do you think we can afford that extra stress with everything going on?
Dean, I just don't like the idea that someone tried to kill you.
I don't like it either. We can't go around accusing people for things that didn't happen, can we? There's been plenty of time for him to try again. You haven't come to me saying I'm in danger, have you?
No, I guess not. I got up from my seat and looked out of the greenhouse towards the mansion. I fiddled with my hands as Dean came up behind me and hugged me, hooking his arms under mine.
For what it's worth, I appreciate being so worried about me, though.
It's fine, really. Maybe I'm still just spooked something could happen to you. Any of you, really.
So, what happens now? Did you want to talk about this some more? Did you want to go ask Roswell?
I struggled with the decision. Not sure I wanted to do given the doubt of me being right or wrong. No, at least, not just yet. I just don't know who else they could be, but I also don't want to go doubting a friend.
Oh, if we discover anything else, we can always come back to it.
I nodded slowly, breaking free of Dean's hug to turn around and give him one of my own. His arms wrapped around me again with one of his hands reaching up to stroke the back of my head. Still the password thing to solve too.
Right. You never did get around to telling me what's going on with that.
Tyson. It's Tyson.
He's going to die? From what?
No, he's the one who,
He killed someone? You're sure?
I don't want to believe it. What was left of Orlando is enough. He looked crazy, maybe?
Given how he's behaving this morning, I suppose I could see it. But you're sure he did the killing?
He was covered in blood, so pretty certain.
No, it doesn't give us a lot of options. We can't go asking him about it either.
Because he hasn't done it yet.
Can you imagine how that conversation might go? I don't think given his current mood he'd like being accused of murder, not only with no evidence, but just because you saw him maybe do it in the future.
Well, now I feel like I'm crazy.
Well, I didn't mean it like that. I just mean if you're going to approach it, maybe there's a way to do it without confronting him.
What do you suggest?
Well, it's clearly important to you, so other stuff can wait. Do you have any clues that could give us a starting place?
Maybe. I stepped back from Dean, frowning. Things Thanatos had said yesterday, things Tyson had said yesterday. Had 2 clues to go off so far, the full moon and his headaches. Ty said yesterday he's getting headaches, really bad ones, typically in the morning.
Well, that's not good.
Right, so maybe there's something going on to stop him sleeping, or maybe something's happening in his room.
Should we go check?
There's something else too. The vision I had happened on the full moon.
Don't tell me.
Tell you what.
Full moon, Tyson, killing someone. Well, that's just screaming werewolf, doesn't it?
My eyes narrowed a little. Not sure to make a Dean making the conclusion just based on those bits of information alone.
But they don't exist, do they? At least Tyson hasn't given me the impression he'd go that feral.
Right, well, turns out the word I used was just that. Werewolf.
This almost feels like a sick joke.
After seeing what I saw, it'd be hard to describe Tyson as anything else, really.
So we need to find out when the next full moon is. First, we should probably check Tyson's room just in case something's going on there. But I have a proposal about that.
About how to approach this?
Right. Chances are Tyson will not be pleased about us finding us in his room, but he might overlook it if it's just you.
You're saying to split up?
Well, pretty much. I can ask around about when the full moon is, and we can meet back up later. Might give me a chance to ask Roswell a few things too.
And that's safe?
Well, as grim as it is, if anything happens, you know for certain if it's Roswell, right?
I don't think I like that implication, but maybe splitting up just this time is fine.
In any other case, we shouldn't split up. We'll be just around the house. Anything goes wrong and just yell. It'll be fine.
Okay, where are we meeting afterwards?
How about you come down to the dining room? We can take a load off there.
Dean and I headed back to the house with the plan to meet back up after I'd finished looking around. After knocking and getting no reply, I eased the door open and stepped inside. Ty? From the lack of response after knocking, I assumed he wasn't in here. But looking around and seeing just how that was the case made me feel like I was doing something bad. Ty was always welcome in my room, but having permission to do the same felt wrong even though I was here for a good reason. In and out, I'll be quick. That's all, nice and quick. I slapped my face gently to try and shake the feelings away so I could focus on my investigation. Ty. First thing my eyes landed on was a pile of things off to the side that seemed to be collected from around the house. Part of me hoped he was only borrowing them, but something told me he intended on taking all this home with him. Riffling through the piles to see what he'd gotten, most of it seemed to be semi-expensive stuff from the games room, plus a couple of smaller trinket things that looked expensive. Were you just planning on selling all this stuff or what?
You tell me.
Thanatos?
In the flesh, or the equivalent is anyway.
What are you doing here?
I should be asking you the same thing. You're going to put that stuff back or add to the pile?
Neither, but God, I should really talk to him about this. Stealing's bad.
And someone thinks so. That's not really my business. Now, why are you here?
I was just checking Tyson's room.
He's not here, obviously.
I can see that. No idea where he is, though.
Unless he's in this room, nothing else matters to me.
Why is that?
You should ask a lot, don't you? If you want to be helpful, you can open that door for me so I can get out.
Alio, when I'm done, I just want to make sure there's nothing in here.
Well, if you trap me in this room like a cage, at least tell me what you're looking for.
Anything to help me save Tyson from doing what I saw in the vault? Any ideas?
You're asking the wrong rat. I don't have ideas, just commands to fill.
Including all the times you bust out where you're not supposed to?
I'm only a machine, but I'm allowed my freedom.
Says who? Thanatos froze briefly, looked me over and stayed perfectly still.
Doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter? I don't think machines could be free if they're just, computers.
Well, I'm special. You should know that by now.
Yeah, sure. Rolling my eyes, I got down on the floor and started looking under the bed, covering my nose in fear of the dust making me sneeze.
What are you looking for now?
Why'd you keep asking me that? I told you already.
Maybe I was waiting for you to notice it.
I pulled my head out from under the bed and looked around. Was I meant to be noticing something? Aside from the mess that Tyson had made, it looked just like my room.
Maybe I'm giving you too much credit.
Unless you're going to help me figure this out, just be quiet, please.
Fine, I'll wait. If that's how you want to be this time.
What do you mean, this time?
Have you forgotten that I remember everything from every past iteration? Sometimes you clue in right away, sometimes you don't. Actually, that seems to be the new normal behaviour, really.
Come on, Thanatos, I'm just worried about what's going to happen. I'm not some know-everything machine like you are.
Works every time. Alright, I'll help. It won't be because I have places I need to be.
I rolled my eyes, sitting back against Ty's bed and looked at Thanatos. So what am I looking for?
You tell me. Figured out what sets the wolf off yet?
One thing I have to go off is his headaches, and they happen around when he wakes up.
And you started by looking into the bed?
Seemed like a good enough thing to start with. If his bed wasn't comfortable, he'd have just told me.
Fair point. What are you expecting? Some monster into the bed?
Look at it from my perspective. I don't know what causes headaches. I don't know what's happening to Tyson, neither does he. What else am I meant to do beyond look up when the full moon is?
Let me ask you this then. What would you be willing to spend keeping him alive? Or Orlando for that matter?
Anything.
You never change, do you? Always the self-sacrificing route, but that's just something I'm going to have to work with.
What do you mean?
Say for a moment there's a chance you can all survive this month. Say in order for that to happen, someone's going to need to know what's going to happen.
Using the vault.
That's one option. The other option is to be the vault.
You actually willing to help, or are you just messing with me again?
If I wanted to mess you, I just would. I didn't go showing you your dad's license yesterday for nothing.
You won't command you to do it.
Not exactly, but to fulfill my command, you need to know your folks are here.
And you can just reason that out.
It's my first time doing this, remember? Iterative design at its finest, yeah?
I don't know. The fact you can just design whatever outcome you want always makes me wonder if I have a choice in anything.
You have options, always do. I'm just responding to what you do as if we're playing some little game. Game of chess or whatever, yeah?
So, whose turn is it now?
Yours. You found me in Tyson's room, and I have to decide what happens next.
Well, how did you get in here?
Snuck in. Just told to be in here. It wasn't needed for anything else today.
And what were you needed for?
I was commanded to be in here. It's my job to try and get what you saw in the vault to happen.
But you're just saying you're willing to help.
I am, but easy to not tell you any of this and send you on your way.
Okay, well, how are you going to get it to happen?
Oh, easy enough. Sure, I was been told about how the vault works.
Trauma. Putting word and vision happens if it lines up.
Yeah, but not that. Specifically how it does that.
Because you decide?
God, you're dense. Alright. So when a password is flagged, a frequency plays to trip something in your head. Pitched high enough to cause pain and a blackout. Sound familiar?
I think Oswin might have mentioned that.
Right, well, the room that you put the password in has a speaker just like the one around my collar. Don't want you to play anything, I just could, yeah?
You're making Ty see visions of the vault.
Nope, I just have to make him go nuts. Easy enough done by playing something like...
I suddenly clapped my hands to my ears, yelping. What was that?
I told that version of I've been playing Tyson. You can hear the real things, you're not a dog. Imagine hearing that while you're sleeping but unable to wake up.
My head's already starting to hurt. That was awful.
What can I say? It's effective.
So that's it? I just get rid of you and the problem is solved?
Yes, but no. Well, you still want my help anyway.
I'm listening.
I always was simple. Hide in Tyson's room and make him go nuts on the full moon. Nothing else. Could freely pick the parameters of how to get it done too.
And you decided playing the sound?
Well, I wasn't about to stick with a dose of rabies now, was I?
My eyes went to the closed door with a frown. And the room was soundproofed, which is why no one else heard it.
Got it in one.
If getting rid of you is out, then I just have to swap rooms with Tyson?
Oh, in technicality, that's going to cut it. You swap rooms, your room just becomes his and I can go hang out over there.
But if he just borrows my room?
I think I'll be fine with that. Can't really say when he gets my orders if he just wasn't in his room, can I?
So you're just going to what? Stay in his room and hide?
Pretty much. Got somewhere I need to be first, but yeah, I'll make my way back in later.
But where? Just under the bed in a pile of his clothes?
Under the bed works just fine for your room.
What do you mean you weren't?
Every time you spoke to Oswald in your room, that was me letting him use my speaker.
He frowned quickly, tapping his foot.
Speaking of, didn't need to hear any of what you and that bear got up to.
I felt myself blush under my fur, unaware that someone was listening.
Just me listening in, though. Wasn't going to broadcast and give myself away when questions started to be asked.
Santos shook his head, throwing his arms up.
Happy now? I don't want to be holed up in here all day, so open the door already.
Almost. Just one more thing.
What is it now?
Where do you need to go, like, after here?
Just need to go have a chat with someone. Nothing more than that.
I could take you myself. Who is it?
None of your business. I might answer that even if you ask nice.
Please?
Points for trying, but no.
I had some more prod and I gave up when it was clear Thanatos wasn't going to tell me anything else. When I opened the door to leave, he basically left over my foot to stop me closing him inside. Got a glimpse of him heading downstairs, but he's completely out of sight by the time I looked over the railing to the floor below. Made my way downstairs, about to head into the dining room for almost running to Dean on his way out. Oh. Sorry, I was just coming back. Oh, it's as well. I was about to come looking for you. Did the search go well? It went well, I think. I made progress. Dean scratched his neck, nodding slowly. Well, I don't know how much it's going to help in the long run. I managed to rent a horse and he knew when the next full moon was. That's good, right? Hopefully, but what now? Well, I know I could go for another coffee, so how about I brew us some and we can go sit down in the rooms over there to chat? Oh, sure. I promise I won't be long. I went on ahead, splitting off from Dean and making myself comfortable. The room itself was like many of the others that lined the first floor. Maybe repurposed all into the same thing for convenience. It's hard to say. What was apparent though was the room felt lonely or otherwise neglected, so it just didn't have a use anymore. If you notice when immense though, they're obviously enough to make use of the space. Well, they seem to mind, but it seems a little bit wasteful. Oh, sorry for the wait. Handing me the mug carefully, he dropped down next to me, almost spilling his own, but recovering as he settled into the chair. So, how'd your search go? It went alright. I went up to Tyson's room and it turned out that there was like... I struggled to figure out how best to explain it. Taking a sip of my coffee brought me enough time to think of a somewhat convincing lie. So there wasn't anything wrong with his bed really, just something under it that was setting off this noise, but it's making my head hurt. There was something like that under his bed. How did it get there? Well... Dropping my gaze quickly, I grimaced, hoping Ty would forgive me for telling on him. Ty's been stealing things from around the house, it looks like. So probably something he picked up from somewhere. His room was a mess, so chances are just rolled under the bed. I scratched my cheek, wondering if it was convincing enough, and checked to see Dean's reaction. Huh. What? Normally I'd have some choice words to say about stealing, but I think maybe this once he's suffered enough. It'd be worth asking him directly though after we're in the clear. Right, we can't have him stealing things. Not that I blame him. It's rough back home, but still. Might need not all that stuff we come away from this vacation with that money that was offered. Dean, we can't just take that, can we? Well, I'm just saying that maybe it's an option we can look at later. Someone doesn't get him accused of something bad on top of everything else that'll be going on while we escape. I guess. What about your investigation, though? I think I've solved the reason Ty goes nuts, but unless we know how long I need to keep that checked off, it's not very useful to us. Well, tomorrow night, actually. I nodded slowly, drinking again. So we'll just get him through tonight and tomorrow night and we're in the clear. Should be easy enough. Yes, feels like something we should be telling the others. I'd rather not, but I have a reason. Oh, yeah? Just... between the two of us, I think we have it solved. But if you go telling the others, then they'll know. Isn't that kind of the point?
No, I mean, think back to what we said in the greenhouse. Someone wanted you dead. Maybe that same person wanted Orlando dead and was just using Tyson to do it.
So it's like when you're worried about Benson all over again. Oh, well, the killer getting away because now everyone knew what was going to happen.
Yes, sort of like that, yeah.
Well, I'd like to have a group talk about it after we're clear. It's better we're all on the same page, and chances are by then the person behind it would already know if their plan failed.
Right.
Dean and I just sat there quietly for a bit, drinking our coffee before he broke the silence.
So, what did you want to talk about now?
This might be coming out of nowhere, but what's your ex-boyfriend like? Dean almost choked on his coffee, coughing and spluttering as he tried setting down his mug. Sorry, we don't have to talk about that if you don't want.
No, just, well, that really did catch me off guard. What did you want to know about him?
What was he like?
Well, it's been a few years since we last saw each other, so I can only really tell you what it was like when we were,
dating?
Well, I suppose he was like that.
Was he like me? Dean looked me over, thinking hard.
Well, shorter by a fair bit. Wasn't a hyena either.
What about not physical things?
Let's see. He was stubborn, really stubborn. But he took charge and that was kind of nice. I could just take it easy and he'd sort things out.
Sounds kind of like Tyson.
Oh, no. Well, maybe I'm phrasing it wrong. It was more upfront, maybe. He was a kind soul at heart, but just very selective on who he dropped his shields around.
So what made him drop them around you?
Honestly, I don't really know. Maybe he just latched onto me because I was bigger. Maybe it was something else, but I'm glad he did.
So he's like Tyson?
Well, Rami wasn't like Tyson. At least I don't think so.
So how are we similar then?
Similar?
Let me think. Well, he wasn't a hyena, wasn't my height. He sounds like Tyson. Maybe you should date Tyson.
Oh, I'll pass, thank you very much.
I snickered, sitting in my coffee before I spilled it. Come on, just looking what things we have in common. Like, why me?
Well, physically the similarities aren't all that much. It's mostly just the teeth and the eyes.
Without realising, I was rubbing my teeth, trying to puzzle it out.
That's really the only thing that caught my eye, as silly as it is. Well, I think it's a cute look. What really got me was that look in your eye that told me you were someone sensitive deep down.
Well, I am. Except also not so deep down too.
Yeah, I get that. But at the time you were just kind of there. If that makes sense. What I saw was something closer to like you inside. I wanted to get to know that person better.
You know that normal people don't go asking people out on dates out of the blue, right?
Well, it worked. We're here now, aren't we?
I guess that's true.
Oh, right, before I forget.
Tomorrow night I need you for a thing. What kind of thing?
Well, a good thing, you'll like it.
Is this thing you mentioned yesterday?
Maybe.
What about stopping Tyson?
I promise it won't take all night.
I don't know, Dean.
Oh, trust me.
He reached out and took my hands in his, flashing that smile at me. Well, if you say it's a good thing, sure. Dean settled back, pleased with the answer, and took up his coffee again. And that's it?
Well, until tomorrow, yep. Don't need to worry about anything else aside from spending the rest of the day waiting for dinner.
We chatted some more about random things in the next round of coffee made by me. Then we went back out to the greenhouse for a bit, just so Dean could check on a few things before we headed inside for the day to take it easy some more. Dinner was, funnily enough, ordinary. People sat down, ate, chatted. It was just another communal meal during a get-together. With the exception of Oswin and Benson, everyone else was here, but having seen hide nor hair of Oswin since this morning made me worry. Or if not worry, curious. Plus I had some words from after what I'd figured out. Question was, which way should I go to the lab? Or would it be better to find Benson as to see Oswin? All things considered, if Benson wasn't around, I couldn't rightly ask him anyway, so that made the decision easier. Dave, what are you thinking about? Just wonder where Oswin is, or Benson even.
It's a wonder we haven't seen either of them. Unless someone's just forgotten to mention it. We look around the table and indicate no one else had seen him as they collectively shrugged or shook their heads in turn.
Only someone in the house, right? Not if they go out and leave us to fend for ourselves.
That'd make sense, yes. Just seems unlikely that we'd miss them is all.
I was thinking about going to check in is all. See if either of them had figured out a plan the next couple of days, or even if they're hungry.
I'm sure they're fine. Benson's likely got things covered given he's the butler, right?
I think check-in is worth it. It wouldn't harm to ensure they're both okay.
I'll go do it now. I finished eating anyway.
You going alone?
Well, yeah. Shouldn't be a problem, should it?
The house is secure. There hasn't been anyone else lingering around as far as we know, right?
Roswell fidgeted on the spot, looking me over. There was something in how he did it that made me feel odd. What's wrong?
I don't know. I should go with you, just in case.
I frowned, thinking if Roswell were to come, I'd miss my chance to properly talk to Oswin, and by extension Thanatos were he around.
It'll be alright, Roswell, promise.
But Dave...
It'll be fine. Sal put a hand on Roswell's shoulder, shooting me a look.
If anything happens, or if you find something wrong, just yell and we'll come running. I don't think we need to keep together so long as you're just staying in the house.
Then Sal shot me a very serious look, hand leaving Roswell's shoulder.
Don't let it be like the other day when you wandered outside without telling anyone where you went.
A chill ran down my spine, being made to remember how that went. I promise, no leaving the house, and if anything happens, I'll just yell.
Good.
The moment he eased up, it seemed to say to everyone else at the table who had similar thoughts. I did much to calm Roswell, who still seemed to take issue about me going alone, but I'd just have to make it up to him later. Rushing out of the dining room, I made to leave the basement. After all, it seemed to be the most direct route to the lab without needing all the way upstairs and circle back down. After yesterday, I looked to the hidden door, wondering if I should knock or just go wandering down there. Before I knew what I was doing, I already opened the door, my decision made.
How long do we have again? That depends on what you mean.
I could hear the smugness in his voice. I travelled through the dark to the pale green light of the laboratory, followed by gnawed grumbling from Oswin that followed.
You know damn well what I mean, Thanatos. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4, it doesn't matter, you know it. Why doesn't it matter? Just tell me what I want to know. Until this experiment is over? Well, why not get Julie in here and I can tell you both?
I froze in my place near the door as Oswin bolted out and nearly ran into me, grabbing me quickly and throwing me inside.
What did I tell you about sneaking around? I'll be too hard on him. He's after answers just like you.
Yeah, actually, a couple of things, but yeah.
Fine, sit down.
He gestured to a seat near his desk and I took it, watching Thanatos parade back and forth along the desk. Where's Benson?
He'll be here soon, just getting Oswin here a snack.
How did you overhear? Not a whole lot, about how many days until something, also an experiment.
Oh, good, you did hear that part. Pay him no mind, Dave. What did you need?
I came to check in, plus I guess ask a few questions of my own.
Like what?
Among what this experiment is, what you did in the dining room this morning.
Answer him. What if I don't want to?
I shot Thanatos a confused look, scratching my face. Want?
Answer him. Fine, jeez, you're no fun.
Making a show of stretching out and leaning back against the wall, he looked between Oswin and I before speaking.
Alright, so what happened this morning? I wanted to go for a walk.
Just a walk?
Why not? If Oswin and Benson get to walk around, why can't I? You know damn well why. If you're only able to stop me in another iteration, what makes you think you could stop me now?
About that. If you remember everything that we've ever done, then what's the point in doing anything at all?
What do you mean?
Like, even asking you that question, you know the answer before I even say it, or what would have happened this morning when Oswin showed up?
That's right. Think about it this way. If I know how the conversation's going to go, I can guide it how I want by saying the right things, yeah? You do not have free will. No, but I do have my orders existing from way back to nearly the first time I woke up.
And that's what exactly?
Good luck, Dave. Suppose he's been commanded to not reveal that.
And just command him to reveal it?
Sorry, no can do. Order stands to not tell anyone until the experiment is done.
Right, what is the experiment anyway?
That's the idea of morphic resonance in the vault, or rather, Thanatos proven he can do what he's built to do.
And the time limit?
Well, it depends on you, doesn't it?
Meaning?
You know that Tyson's the next one at risk during the full moon. You can always just walk away now and let it happen. There is something worth bringing up here.
There is?
Consider for a moment he's orchestrating events to happen in a certain way. Perhaps the vision you saw only came about because Thanatos somehow manipulated you into causing it to happen. They claim, but can you prove it? Alas, I cannot. The only thing I have to rationalise is the paradox of which event came first. Presumably something happened and you could be expediting the same sequence of events by a different means. Well, aren't you a killjoy? You're right. I just had to take steps to pose it as an obstacle. Depending on what Junior there does tells me what my next job is.
Well, I know now, so what's the next job?
Keeping you alive, assuming you can keep Tyson sane for another night. Deadline is tomorrow night and you should now know what the trigger is.
Right. I turned to Oswald with a frown. Why did you tell Thanatos to drive Tyson insane?
I did no such thing.
His eyes went to Thanatos, returning to me.
But he said all I'm allowed to. We're not done until you tell me how long we have left on the experiment. Surely you know. It's variable. It could end tomorrow night. It could be a week from now, just another 2. I've seen the end of the experiment a few different times, so telling you that it could end any time doesn't help, does it?
I could almost hear Oswald grinding his teeth. So to double check, you came into the dining room this morning to do something, and then did that knowing you'd be caught and then left.
I do admit you were keeping somewhat quiet even after we left. Why? Just setting the failsafe up. If I found myself in the timeline with Memphis, I'd rather not have my body damaged. More people can repair me, the better.
But how does Dean finding you help?
He's an option. Maybe not the best one, but I'll take what I can get. Sure, I can trust my repairs to the Lion who can't put an ECM back together.
I scratched my chin, thinking it through.
If you need repairs, I may as well do it.
I think I have another question.
Go on.
Are you on our side? Like, this experiment isn't meant to kill us, right?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask that question, but here we are.
That doesn't sound good.
Is it meant to? No, but this is acceptable to achieve a result. Collateral damage or whatever. There's no way I would have sanctioned that. Good thing it's not your experiment anymore then, isn't it?
And whose is it?
You're just going to have to find out yourself, sorry. I feel like we're wasting our time interrogating further. I already have a headache.
Wasn't Benson meant to be coming around?
Oh, you're right, that's a bit of a worry. I wonder what's keeping him. He won't be long.
Sorry for the delay, I'm here now. Benson strode in the room and placed a cup of tea along with what seemed to be a slice of cake on the desk next to Thanatos.
Oh, thanks, Benny boy. You know that's not for you, you abomination. Now, be nice. Benson, everything all right? It's unlike you to dawdle.
Quite. I had questions to answer the moment I appeared in the dining room. The others informed me that David had come looking for the two of us, and a curious young man decided to question me further. You mean Roswell?
Indeed. Not that there's any problem with that, although I do apologise for not bringing you refreshments either, Dave.
It's fine, I think. You're both alive, I got what I needed, and that's basically it, really.
Leaving already?
Well, it's not like we can get much out of Thanatos, and I don't think you have anything more from me either, right?
Well, if you decide to drop any pearls of wisdom, I'll be sure to let you know come the morning.
Okay, good night then.
I'll sleep well, Junior.
I backtracked through the passage and closed the door behind me once I emerged into the basement. Stretch and I headed upstairs and checked the dining room with the others if they were still around. Anyone here? Ty looked up from the dishes, grumbling.
I'm here, what do you want? Seriously, Dave, you don't need anything, get lost.
Rubbing my head, I wandered over to Tyson and picked up a towel to start drying the dishes he'd already set off to the side.
I don't need help.
Did you want help?
Do whatever you want.
We worked together a little bit before I broke the silence, looking at Tyson with a frown. Sleep in my bed tonight.
Pass, I'd rather get the sleep in.
Right, I'm not going to be using it tonight, so you can have the whole thing.
Dave, I don't want to hear about you getting late.
If you're having trouble sleeping or whatever, my bed is comfy. Just trust me on this. Take my bed for the night and see how you feel in the morning.
You're not going to go into my room, are you?
Why? Is there something there you don't want me to see?
No.
You sure?
You went to my fucking room already, didn't you?
I was looking for you. He grumbled, wiping his hands after draining the sink and turning to me.
I know you judge me for the stuff in there. I'm just thinking ahead.
That stuff doesn't belong to you, Ty.
I'm thinking ahead of us getting home and not having to be broke. Fuck, if we have to bail quickly for whatever reason, we can leave it all behind. But any extra money we can get, I'm making use of.
What about the money's offered for just doing the metal hunt?
You think we'd find the whole set? Listen, if it fucking bothers you that much, I'll not take anything else.
And you'll put the rest back? Through gritted teeth, Ty grumbled and growled.
Oh, fine.
Ty, come on, you should just...
I should just what? Just leave me alone, Dave.
I grabbed his hand and he flinched, ears twitching briefly.
I'm being a dick again, aren't I?
You're just tired, which is why you should borrow my bed tonight. I'll think of something else. We could bunk up together. I think you'll like having the bed to yourself to spread out and rest. He spun around quickly to look at me, mouth open to say something before quickly closing it, shaking his head.
Okay, fine, you're right.
Hopefully you feel alright for a good night's sleep, Ty.
I'll swing by my room and grab some stuff and head on over to yours, I guess. Sure, it's fine?
Yeah, I'm sure. I wonder where Thanatos was right now. He already made his way into Tyson's room if that was going to happen later.
Well, see you later then, I guess.
He waved over his shoulder as he left the kitchen, then out of sight. Finished drying what dishes were left and then followed suit. Without thinking, I just went right to Dean's room, stripping down to my underwear and opening the door to the bathroom.
Oh!
I walked right into Dean, the smell of soap lingering on his fur. A hand reached out and grabbed me to stop me falling backwards onto the floor, and one stably brushed me off.
Oh, well, this is a surprise. You weren't planning on joining me in the shower, were you?
Oh, not exactly, no.
Probably the best anyway. All that work in the greenhouse made me feel kinda gross, and being able to wash at my own pace is nice.
He looked me up and down before gesturing back to the bathroom with his thumb.
You're welcome to grab a shower, though. I'm sure I'll explain everything once you're out.
Oh, there's not that much to explain, really. Tyson's going to borrow my room, and I just assumed that,
Well, you can share my bed?
Well, yeah, that's fine, right? All things considered.
Well, you don't have that excuse, I'll be alright with it.
Go on, get clean. Wasting no time, I jumped into the shower, starting to scrub. Dean's shampoo was still here, and I took some for myself, assuming that too was fine. The smell of honey hit my nose, that sweet scent lingering as I rinsed off after thoroughly lathering up. Midway through, I heard Dean enter the bathroom again, and I froze in place. Dean?
Everything okay, just doing my teeth. Worried that the others know they've resurfaced as well. No one seemed to know you were back from your search.
Oh, yeah, I guess I just forgot.
You should be more careful than that.
He chuckled, and I could hear some thorough scrubbing going on. I continued washing, rinsing myself off as Dean left the bathroom, having finished brushing his teeth. Stepping out of the bathroom with my towel, I flicked off the light before stepping into my underwear.
Feeling better?
I feel clean at least. Better? Well, it'll just depend on how things turn out tomorrow.
You have every right to be worried. It should sort itself out now, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yawning, I wandered over the bed where Dean was sitting and dropped down next to him. Placed an arm around my back and held me close. My head found that small crook in his shoulder and I nestled in, yawning again.
You're that tired?
I guess today's took a lot out of me. More than it should have anyway.
Oh, come on then. Let's get you comfy and we can get some resting in. I want to be up a little early if I can to get things organised, but you're welcome to stay in bed.
Didn't take much for Dean to shift us around in bed and lay me back. The moment my head hit the pillow, my body felt like lead, and I basked in the comfort and warmth Dean provided. He lay next to me, Still on his phone a little bit doing something. I rolled over to cuddle in all the same. Hooking an arm around me, I used his chest as a pillow and fell asleep to the sound of his steadily beating heart. And there we go. That was Dean's Day 18. So I'm not quite sure when the next updates for Dean and Ty are going to be coming out. But obviously we'll be carrying on with those when they come up to the public. And if you want to see things early, don't forget you can always support Grizz on Patreon and get early access to all these builds. And Hoss and Sal, I think Orlando, I think there's 3 builds came out for the public just recently for the Patreon. So yeah, there's stuff going on there that you can see. And it doesn't cost much to support people on Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, he says with an absolute horrible segue, as always, thanks to my patrons for helping support the channel. It's much appreciated. And especially my top patrons, the top donors, Grizz, who can also thank for password here, Evan King, David Taylor, The Beholder, Samuto, Ryan Hall, Anubis Silverwind, Ida Corval, Brandon Bradford, Bastian, Mark Huskerton, Marcus, Kopi, Gunnar Muller, Tiger Cub, Sindri Dragowolf, Dissonance, Besuksu, Govers Vista, and Kartek. So in the week there will be a return to the Echo of 2015. Just be dropping back in on Carl's route there. And next weekend, it's going to be a surprise. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I have to talk to someone about that video. So you'll find out next weekend what's going to happen there. That is it for now for Password, brought to you by Grizz, who's done all the art and all the writing, the coding, and of course Siv Valian is writing the music, which you can't properly hear because I've been talking over it all the time. And Siv has also done the music for me. So another reason to play Password on your own time. You can get to hear the music properly. That's it. Until we turn to Echo, bye for now.